Welcome to today's podcast. We're diving deep into a topic that has shaped the course of history and continues to affect our world today: war. But not just the kind of war that involve armies, battles, and territories. Today I want to explore how wars first start in the mind of people as divisive ideas. Ideas rooted in hate, racism, and the false sense of superiority. These mental wars, fueled by divisive thinking, often grow into actual conflicts in the real world. Most importantly, we'll discuss how to stop wars in our heads before they ever reach the battlefield. Wars do not start with a single bullet fired or a declaration by a government. They begin in the human mind, where thoughts and emotions collide. Throughout history, conflicts have been rooted in ideas that divide. Beliefs about race, religion, nationality, and cultural superiority. These thoughts form the foundation of an us versus them mentality. Imagine for a moment that each one of us carry a battlefield within our minds. It's a place where ideas, fears, and prejudice clash. When someone believes that their identity, culture, or race is superior to another, seeds of hatred begin to grow. These seeds are often planted through the influence of society, families, and sometimes even government propaganda. They become reinforced through misinformation, fear-mongering, and the continuous exposure to narratives that emphasize division rather than unity. Racism and hate are often the most potent weapon in these mental wars. When people are taught to fear others who are different from them, they become more susceptible to the notion that the other is the enemy. This mental conflict slowly morphs into a desire to protect one's own group, to defend against perceived threats, and sometimes to attack before being attacked. Once these divisive thoughts take root, they start to spread. They grow stronger with every conversation that vilifies the other, with every stereotype that is passed off as truth. This is how ideas of conflict begin to translate into physical reality. Hate speech, discriminatory policies, and propaganda create an atmosphere of distrust and hostility. These mental wars become real as societies begin to polarize. Eventually, leaders and political entities exploit this division, using it to justify aggressive actions, whether it's the enforcement of unjust laws, social discrimination, or even outright violence. As individuals align themselves with these divisive ideas, they might feel compelled to take action. Some take to the street in protests, others engage in violent acts, and nations may find themselves on the brink of a war. By this stage, the war in the mind has already manifested in the physical world. Now, how do we stop these wars in the head before they erupt into physical conflicts? This is where the true challenge lies, because it requires a shift in thinking at both the individual and societal levels. Self-awareness. The first step is to cultivate self-awareness. We need to acknowledge our own prejudices and biases. It's not an easy task because it forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about our own beliefs. However, it is only through self-reflection that we can start to dismantle the mental barriers we've built against others. Education. Education plays a pivotal role in changing the divisive ideas that exist in our minds. Learning about different cultures, religions, and history broadens our perspective. It allows us to see the humanity in others, reducing fear and misunderstanding. Education isn't just about teaching facts, it's about fostering empathy, and critical thinking, dialogue and empathy. Open, honest dialogue is crucial. When we engage in conversation with those who hold different viewpoints, we challenge our own perceptions, but it's not just about talking, it's about listening. True dialogue requires empathy, the ability to step into someone else's shoes and see the world from their perspective. When we understand the struggles and fears of others, it becomes harder to hate. Rejection, hate, and fear. We must actively reject narratives that promote hate and fear. This means being vigilant about the information we consume and the conversations we participate in. Propaganda thrives on ignorance and fear. By questioning the motives behind divisive rhetoric and refusing to be swayed by it, we weaken its power. Promoting unity. Finally, we need to promote unity. This does not mean ignoring our differences, but rather celebrating them. Unity is not about making everyone the same. It's about respecting diversity and recognizing our shared humanity. When we focus on what unites us rather than what divides us, the mental wars lose their fuel. Wars may be fought on battlefield, but they begin in the human mind. They are fueled by divisive ideas, hatred, and racism, which gradually manifest into physical conflicts. To stop wars, we must first stop the battles in our heads. Through self-awareness, education, empathy, rejecting hate, and promoting unity, we can break down the mental barriers that lead to real-world violence. It's a daunting task, but it starts with each of us. The change begins in our heart and minds. The more we challenge divisive thinking, the less room there is for war to take root. In the end, peace in the world is only possible if there is peace in the mind. So the next time you find yourself confronting a divisive thoughts or hateful rhetoric, pause. Reflect on where it comes from and what it leads to. Ask yourself, do I want to be a part of the war, or can I be a force for peace? Because if we can stop wars in our minds, we can stop them from ever reaching the real world. Thank you for listening. Until next time, let's keep working toward a world where peace begins within us.